Happy Boxing Day. So these are the books I've read so far for the project. Actually, I read more. I'm just trying to catch up with the videos. And we did all Novembers, so that's good. Now we're on to December 6th bestseller. The fiction was Tricky 22 by Janet Evanovich. So yeah, let's talk about Tricky 22. Tricky 22. All right. So in the last video, when I read The Crossing, I complained about the pattern I started to see, with people trying to solve a crime, detecting and all that stuff, the legal situations. Well, this is another crime-solving book. Seriously, I think it's been anyway, maybe it's just the time of year too. Now it's interesting because this book, though, it was pretty unique. I thought, the criminals were unique. It's alleged that there's this college frat house. And so these frat boys are suspects in some craziness, and the dean of this university is totally pissed at them, and the detective, or she's a bounty hunter, I suppose, which makes her sound really hardcore, but Stephanie Plum is, I guess this is a Stephanie Plum novel, and this is the 22nd book in this series. So it's yet another pattern of this sort of crime-solving detective, lawyer type figure, whomever. In this case, it's a bounty hunter dealing with the mystery of the crime, and 22 books of that. So this one had a lot of pop culture references and stuff, which was cool. But sometimes it felt forced, hey, 22 books in, and I'm still hip and cool. So. Not that I would know anything about that approach to media. But I didn't really like this book. So this is the first book I read. I'm so sorry, Miss Plum. No, that's your character's name. Or who you... Anyway. Janet. I think I probably could like a Stephanie Plum novel, but... the 22nd book in the series, and I've read none of the others. It starts out like 1 for the money, 2 for the show, all the way up to this, Tricky 22. It was like pure dialogue. There was very little thought that I was reading. There was no history or, it's just nothing but talking the whole time. Which was cool, it was an interesting way to tell the story, but I just it almost felt like a TV show, kind of, and not like a book. So I not necessarily stream of consciousness, although there's a lot of great stuff like that. Actually, I do like that method of storytelling, but it's just all conversation, and it's I don't know, it's weird too, she has, Stephanie Plum's a female protagonist, main character. Let's see, she's got her sidekick named Lula, a sassy black lady who, and I take it that Stephanie Plum is white, but gets to have the sassy black female sidekick that all white people must really want to have. The character, I thought, I liked her, but there were times when, I'm talking about the African American character here, there were times when I was cringing, because I'm sure it could be based on a real person, maybe one of her friends in real life, probably, for all the people that she knows. But there were, when you try to capture non-grammatical ebonics, or whatever. I don't know, I felt like she mostly was she was okay half the time. Not that I'm an expert, on black culture. But there are people like Toni Morrison who she's one of the most celebrated authors of our time. Has written a lot of modern contemporary classics, and she just has like a really like perfect capture of African American colloquialisms, and it's not clearly Janet Evanovich is not racist in this book, I would say. I'm not accusing her of that at all, but it just felt a little corny, and that was not even what I was talking about initially, but the whole book, I mean, the two of them, they're buddies, so don't mess with that chord, Calypso. Okay, so there were some interesting comments. I'm not sure where she stands on feminism, though. Pink is a feminist color, Puka said to Lula. Are you a feminist? Lula. You bet your ass, Lula said, unless I need something done that's man's work, like relocating a snake. Then I'm all about bending the rules. Just because I wear pink don't mean I'm stupid. And while we're on the subject of fashion, I have to tell you the necklace you're wearing is excellent. I don't know. I'm not a female. Definitely not an expert about women. Let me see if I can find another comment. If you read like a bunch of passages about feminism, or where feminism is mentioned, I kind of felt like maybe Stephanie Plum. I don't know. She's not supposed to be she's not a tomboy. She definitely enjoys being taken out on dates, and she swoons over these two guys that she's seeing in the book, and there's that whole I don't even want to be sexist myself, but I felt like this was more for girls as a book, and that's not why I didn't like it. But the main reason I didn't like it was definitely for the dialogue. And I would just get kind of confused sometimes, but I wasn't interested enough to even try to resolve my confusion, even though it was a very easy read. I just kept plowing forward. Now, the ending was pretty interesting, I have to say. I'm not going to spoil it, of course. That's not what I do. But I thought it was pretty unique. I almost wish I could tell you what happens. But you might really love this book, so I'm not going to do that. But it almost goes out with quite a bang. I'll just say that. And what the villain, whomever wanted to do was, it was almost humorous. I feel like sometimes this book actually did make me laugh. Okay, I'm not going to lie. And when I say I don't really like the book, it's still not it's not like a horrible, awful book, oh, don't read Tricky 22. But I just, I'm trying to see if I can find something funny. I could see someone laughing all the way with this book, but not me. But I laughed maybe 5 times. Let's see. She doesn't. I totally lost track of that feminist point. But I don't understand her views on feminism, I guess, because she's definitely, her main character is, not a feminist per se, but, feminism can be interpreted in many ways. You have Beyonce came out with her last huge album and said it was a feminist statement, and definitely it was, and some people like to own their sexuality, and you can own whatever being a woman means to you, and she plays a really normal. Stephanie Plum seems like a very ordinary person to me, other than the fact that she is a bounty hunter that deals with these extraordinary criminal circumstances, and that's of course what makes her interesting. So, but yeah, so the humor, back to the humor of the book, it has what I call a machine gun approach to comedy, where there are some maybe really dry you know, comedies that you could say have a sniper approach, where, you know, it takes a lot of time to set up that joke, and when it finally comes, almost unexpectedly, it's deadly. You know, it really hits the spot. It's hilarious, but you know, it's mostly a quieter thing, maybe sniper comedy, right? But then you have machine gun comedy, which is just like constantly firing, and you're not necessarily very accurate, and you're just trying to throw things at the wall, see what sticks. And I feel like this book is filled with jokes, and it's just like constantly she's trying to tell these really culturally relevant jokes. And I don't know, a lot of them just felt like dorky to me. Obviously, she is a best-selling author. A lot of people love her, and you probably would never watch one of my other videos after this if you think that she's hilarious. But hey, we all have different senses of humor. Let's see. Where are you from? Lula asked him. Des Moines. I knew it, Lula said. He's Mr. Dildo in skanky panties. I'm guessing these are your friends, he said. So obviously they know about your problem with head lice and toenail fungus. It's not, anyway, it's just like, so many things that she says. And sometimes it is funny, like I said. I must have found a lot of Lulu's remarks interesting, but some of the things she says they're humorous, but they are also spoilers, so let's not share those. Yeah, there's definitely some sexual stuff in this book, more than that Nicholas Sparks See Me book, where that is like PG sex. This is like PG-13 sex, I would say. Sexuality, sexual content. There was one point in which the main character is like beat up. She's beat up by this guy, and it was kind of like shocking to me. It wasn't like horrific, like it wasn't some grisly murder scene or something, but it was like, geez, like he really messed her up a little bit there. Okay, so here, back to the feminist thing, I found it. Everything, they're all pigs. It's a totally sexist fraternity. I'm pretty sure fraternities are supposed to be sexist, Lula said to her. Now, if people started vomiting up cockroaches when they were in there, that would be something. You ever see anything like that? Not cockroaches, one of the women said, just normal vomit. So, again, like I couldn't even read another paragraph without talking about dildos or vomit or whatever. A lot of absolutely no racial pun intended, but what I would call colorful language in this book. Or maybe it's off-color remarks, just like crude, maybe sort of a crass machine gun humor there. I will probably have to read Tricky 23 if it comes out. I'll put it that way. You know, it wasn't so bad that I wouldn't ever, like, when the next one comes around, I'll read it. But, man, 22 books. I wonder if they're all bestsellers. I mean, probably. I'm sure a lot of them got to the top of the charts. So, Tricky 22, ladies and gentlemen.